Assalamu alaikum brothers, Jazakallah khair and sisters, Jazakallah khair for coming down to this week's MOD. As you can tell, it's a talk show format that we do. If you haven't realized yet, MOD follows a sequence. We're trying to mix it up a bit. So once every 4 weeks we do a talk show sort of presentation. We invite some guests over. Today we have with us Aqiq and Suhail, both local brothers we know as well. MOD been in contact with these brothers. They've been helping MOD out as well, carrying dawah and whatnot. They've come down today to share their experience of what they've gone through over, how they've gone from Jahiliyyah to Islam. Maybe pass on some sort of message, inshallah, or some sort of motivation for all of us brothers and sisters and people watching at home. So again, we want to finish this and get Maghrib in as well. So inshallah we're praying Maghrib, so don't go nowhere. We're going to be praying Maghrib here, inshallah, yeah. Toilets are allocated at the back by the door and at the back, inshallah. But before we go into the discussion, I just want to give you a bit of background of what the whole discussion is today. We live in a certain area. This is, well, I don't know where all you brothers are from, but me particularly, I've been raised up here. Used to live just a few streets down, moved further down, but still within this area of King's Cross. And so as brother Aqiq, who's from Holborn, next to where I live, he's also grown up here. And brother Suhail had been brought up in the Drama Street area, you might know, next to Euston. And these two areas have particularly something, that brings them together. Gang culture. Gang culture is what brings these two together. I remember back in the days when my older brother was growing up, these two areas used to be united. They used to be together, they used to stay together, they used to do things together. But as time went on, these two areas started to divide. We ended up with two groups. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but two groups. Yes. There you go. Commerce Street and Drama Street. If you've never heard of it, then you heard of it today. These two groups are famous around these areas. They're not famous for doing something good. They're famous because these are the two local gangs. And you find out that many of these gang members went to the same school, grew up together. They end up in I don't want to name the school name yet, but it's a very famous school. It's around the corner. And then from there they moved on, they grew up, but that gang culture split them up. We see just because they were in a certain postcode, they ended up splitting up, getting into fights, getting into trouble. We've invited two brothers who've grown up in these two areas, two separate areas, to end up coming together and being able to sit together and discuss this whole issue, their experience, what they've seen and what they've heard. So just to start off, we want to, bring brothers in. The first question I have for you is, we found out a bit about this information about the gangs, Commerce Street, Drama Street. Straight to the point, were you ever part of them?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. I basically grew up in Drummond Street all my life. I've never moved anywhere else. So I grew up with a lot of gangs around me, Commerce Street, Drummond Street. And there was a lot of temptation to be a part of the gang because the street culture was either you're in a gang or the gang's going to be on top of you. So you had to be a part of a gang. But how it happened was you had the whole Drama Street gang, but then you had little groups within them. So you had the older lot, the younger lot. They used to all have some sort of street codes. You can't smoke in front of the older lots and stuff like that. If there's a fight, you've got to listen to the older lots and all that stuff, really. But I've always hanged around. As soon as you come out of my house, there's DSP written on the walls and stuff like that. I mean, it's in your face every day, the culture, the atmosphere. So I hanged around with quite a few of these brothers. If you were to ask me, was I a part of the gang? You know what? I don't think many people know they're a part of it. So I just ended up hanging around with some of these brothers. And eventually you end up thinking, well, I'm in a gang. So yes and no, kind of.
Okay, all right. What about yourself?
Well, it didn't really help, as Brother Bilal made it very clear. This area of Commerce Street had a long reputation of getting into fights. criminal activities, antisocial behaviour. And as someone who worked for this area as a youth worker, I've seen that firsthand, the nonsense that these youth get up in this area. So the scamming, the stabbing, the driving the fast cars, living the high life, clubbing and all these sort of things. And one of the biggest things this area is known for is, as below illustrated, is gang fights. And especially with the area of Drummond Street, they have a record of this 15 years that they were in it for each other. Literally kiss chasing each other really with feet, yeah. And Subhana, it didn't really help me going to a primary school in this area and then going to a secondary school in this area. And I just literally got myself sucked into it. And as Suhail said, we didn't know that we were in a gang till someone made it clear that, you know what, you're a Crum Street boy now. Yeah, Subhana, it's below illustrated, I wasn't even from Crum Street, I was from Auburn. It's even more funny. Yeah.
So, like, what kind of feeling, what kind of attitude do you have when you see, when you went out, you saw the initial stages of joining the gang? Or is it just like you get initiated in some places we see that they just beat you up, like the Mexican gangs? Is it like that, or?
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy you say that. I remember like, when you're at home, it's just a totally different atmosphere. You're protected. You think the world's BBC One and ITV, and then you go out into the world and you're like, wow. And all I used to see is these kind of things that you're saying, that they used to rush each other as jokes, and I just think, what's going on, man? And they're all, it looks serious, but they're all joking with each other. But sometimes, yeah, with some of the groups, that is the initiation process. But I think to answer your question is, when you used to go out into society, I mean, when I used to go out into the streets, you face new problems. You don't have these problems at home. So you go to school, one kid's getting bullied and you're thinking, you know, I'm going to get bullied as well. They're all beating him up, calling him names, and you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to be like that. And then the only way to protect yourself is you have to act hard, just like these guys as well. So you think, yeah, you know what, I have to start acting like this. But when you act like this, you end up mixing with the same type of people. So if you act, like if you've seen at school, all the smart brothers, or you can call them boffins, hang around together, all the Romeos hang around together, and all the bad boy wannabes hang around. So that's what ends up happening. You first start off as, you know what, I just want to look out for myself, I want to protect myself, I ain't going to get myself bullied, I ain't going to let this happen. So you have to start acting in a certain way. And the funny thing is, when I think about it, I didn't even want to act like that. But it's because of what was going on around me, and you have to do that to fit in. And then, you know, it goes from that, then it goes to acting the hardest. Because if you're not the hardest within that group, you're going to get bullied. So you've got to have a rep, a name, you know, you've got to create a name for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get bullied. So the temptation was there definitely to be a part of it. That's what I went through anyway.
Well, in my case, it's one of the things I've realised, many people, they join these groups or these gangs is because of security. Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, when you get bullied in schools and the teacher doesn't really do nothing about it, or the problem isn't solved properly to the way you want it to get sorted out, you sometimes think to yourself, you know, is it really worth it going on complaining or dealing it with yourself? But you can't deal with the problem on your own because there's too many of them. So you think to yourself, you know what, let me join a group, that in that way these people have my back. So my little problem becomes their problem, and their problem becomes my problem. So I'm not going to be that guy who's facing a problem of my own. And subhanAllah, majority of or some of the brothers that do join these gangs and all that is because of security, because literally they lost trust in the police, the community that they're in. They can't really help them up. You're going to get mugged, you're going to get stabbed, you're going to get bullied in the streets, on the corner. You can't go out with your family to even to shops and all that to get food because you don't know which guy's going to come and make a move on you. So joining this group was a means of, you know what, security, like, you know what, these people have my back. But subhanAllah, that's for myself. I joined this group, so without even knowing, joining this group with the intention that I would be staying away from problems. But on the contrary, I got myself even more into problems.
I think for some of my friends as well, I mean, not me personally, but some of them didn't have a father figure in their house or an older brother. So they were kind of looking back now, they were looking for like a role model or someone to look up to. And that's what happens, they just go out the street and they find like another separate family, something that their personal family and society couldn't feel. So they go and find their own little group, and that they create like a loyalty bond with each other, and that's why it's so quite strong.
Because we see this in society, we see that no matter where you're from, because this is not just a problem of King's Cross and Drama Street or Euston. This is a problem wherever you go to the Green, you see it there, Lesson Green, you see it there. If you go down south, you see loads of, doesn't matter what, it's just not a Bengali or Asian problem. You know, you see the Turks, you see Turkish people, you see Kurdish, you see Afghan gangs coming up now, Kosovans, Algerians, Arabs, Somalians in the Camden, Tottenham. You see everywhere you go. You see when you see a large community of people or minorities, you see that there's these gangs being formed. Are we saying that they all want to be bad boys and they all want to join this gang? Because we see it within. Because as we see now, we're seeing it getting worse. And we see girls joining in, forming little gangs. And what's happening is, are we saying this is just a problem where people are trying to act tough, or are you saying there's more to it? Are you saying, that, these people are lost, these people have issues? How would you...
That's a very good question. You know what? I used to think like that. I used to think, you know what? This is just unique to my area. There must be another area out there that is just perfect. And everybody else, there's no gangs. It's just, why did I have to be born in Drummond Street? Why did I have to go through all of these fights and running away from the police and watching my friends get beaten up? But it's not like that. I mean, even today, so some of the fashion stuff you see, they're wearing low batties, baseball caps, people walk and talk in a certain manner, and they think they're original. They actually think they are the only one who walks around like that, talks like that, dresses like that, acts hard like that, pretends they're a part of a postcode gang, and they're the only one. You go to South London, exactly the same person. It's almost like they're twins. They're wearing the same low batties, the same baseball caps, talking the same manner. You go East London, exactly the same. You go to South London, none of them are original. And the point, I think the good point here is, I think society as a whole has failed them. It's not just the family. People keep blaming the family. Family can't keep you prisoned all life, your whole life. You're going to have to go out into civilization. You're going to go to schools. You're going to get friends. You're going to get a job and so forth. You're going to mix with the crowds outside. And it's the society that creates the atmosphere for this kind of stuff.
You both mentioned schools. How do schools play a role in this issue?
That's where you're going to find these youths. That's where, in this society that we live in, they glorify this life of being the big man. They make movies, they make musics, they make documentaries computer games on the most dangerous two twins of this of London, the Cray brothers. They make movies on these people, showing that these people were big boy gangsters. And you're going to be having a bunch of kids going to schools and all that, staying up a bit late, watching this. What do you think they're going to go to school and they're going to end up talking about? Did you see the way this guy slit his throat? Did you see the way he knocked him out? It's going to be the buzzing thing, and people are just going to get tempted, and people are just going to be talking about it. And then it just becomes like the big thing of the school. People just want to talk about being a thug, being a big man. And school does play a huge role, because that's where you're going to be seeing a mixture of area of people coming together. You're going to be seeing Drummond Street, Holborn, all these people coming together. And frankly speaking, the society that they live in is not really eliminating the idea of don't get into problems, don't get into gangs. It's not promoting that. Rather, on the contrary, it's telling them, what, do whatever you want to do. Go and live your life the way you want to live. If you want to go and join a gang, go ahead. But don't go to an extreme. Don't go to that limit. Even in school. I remember a student was getting bullied in school, and he asked advice from the teacher. The teacher said, go and join that group. What do you mean, go and join that group? Yeah, so what's the difference between that group? Well, guess what? These are the boys that go and flush people's head down the toilet. The bottom line is that this actual idea about, getting into gangs or getting into groups is actually coming down from the society point of view. And that's the way it's getting pushed down from the media and everything.
Just another, there's obviously a lot of who are about this as well. We hear about it. I used to be a big fan of hip hop. I'm not gonna lie. I don't look like it, but I used to be a big fan of hip hop. I'm not gonna lie. I still will enjoy hip hop, which I've stopped listening to because the content and the whole idea of hip hop has changed somewhat since we've been growing up. And we look at hip hop today. Do you think that what we see on like what hip hop is displayed as today has any influence on, like you mentioned, games and video, movies? How big is hip hop to this problem? How big is that?
Big problem.
Would you say that is the #1 problem?
It's a contributing factor, definitely. It adds to it. The reason why I say it adds to it is because when I was young, Drummond Street is very known for its racial tension as well as gang culture. So they used to fight with a lot of the white youths, with the Bengali youths. They used to fight a lot. It was running up and down one road, chasing each other and so forth. But when they used to hear the hip hop back then, the hip hop back then was about defending the black race and so forth. But in America, that was what was going on there because of them trying to integrate and so forth, being a part of the community and standing for something. So they used to listen to that, and used to fire them up, and they used to be able to relate to that. They think, yeah, you know what, we're Bengalis, these English youth or white youth are not accepting us, we're gonna stand for something too. So it has a big impact. And he also tells them that, you know what, this kind of lifestyle, having a gang, having guns, beating somebody up, you should laugh about it, you should boast about it, you should walk around proud that, you know what, I put a guy in hospital. Yeah, this is the kind of impact it has on them. So it is a big contributing factor, because it sets that atmosphere for them to think like that.
Because the reason why I asked you about hip hop is because I'm a football coach myself, and I run under 13s, and I see that the under 13s and what they listen to. I remember one of them came to me and goes, listen to this, and he put it to my ear, and he's talking about some guy. To be honest, it wasn't too clear because the way he was speaking, I couldn't really make it out here. But he was talking about how he's going to shoot someone and on the line of selling drugs and whatnot. But I was thinking, if you're really a gangster, would you then go out and tell people that this image that these hip hop artists are somehow gangsters?
Yeah.
How does that help? First of all, hip hop, and how does that translate to the people?
Sorry, I was relating to back then.
Yeah.
Today, it's nothing like what it used to be. Today, it's all about, you know what, and it's disgusting. If you've womanized more than one woman, you've been out of 10 girls, and you've abused them and whatnot, it's looked at as you know what, I've got a rep. Today, it's looked at, you know what, you're hustling on the streets. What does it mean by hustling? Selling drugs, jacking somebody, beating them up, and making them, look like crap, so that you're looking better than everybody else. This is what it's about today. It's all about glorifying all these crimes. And the crazy thing is, it's like another school. Yeah, but this time they're teaching you your morals. You know what? Your morals is, you know what, you should be a bad man. Disrespect your family. You know why? Because I left my family, I left school, and look at me, I made it so big. I've got so much money. You should do the same. And this is what they get taught. You just look around and listen to some of the lyrics they listen to, and this is what they get promoted. Just like I was saying, that game as well, where they go around killing and jacking or stealing cars.
So who knows the name of that game? There you go, Grand Theft Auto. I'm sorry, carry on.
What do you see? And in the background, they've got some crazy music about how somebody's getting beaten up. You know what? The youth don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. They get it at school. They get it on the computer games. They get it in the music. They get it when they go out with their friends. It's everywhere.
You spoke about the womanizing and the drug selling, hustling on the streets. We saw that there's actually a direct link between joining a gang and leading to other vices or other things prohibited. Thus, the selling of drugs and the womanizing gang out girls. That's also looked at as part of the how many girls you go out with, your rep goes up.
Yeah.
How much drugs you sell. All this is all about the rep. Would you say that being in a gang leads to this, or this is just something that is also there, but it has no correlation? Or would you say that gang culture also escalates these other vices.
I'll let Akiko go after me, but definitely, the reason why I say that is because I used to also be into football as well as a youth. And some of my mates who are like, they grew up in a very isolated way, meaning where they live, they didn't get to go out and so forth. They lived very isolated, cultured at home and mothershah and whatnot. So they used to be into the football, and when they used to see me, they used to look at me as the weird one, or they used to see me and my other friends, they used to think, why are you getting into this? Why are you doing this stuff? This is stupid. You know, like for example, you're in the gang, and if you ain't got a girlfriend, you're laughed at. You know, you're laughed at. He's a hash pot. That's what they used to call. That's what they used to call it. That's how they used to.
Famous words.
They used to degrade the people by saying that, yeah, look, he's a freshie. He can't pull a girl. But when you go around to the football crews, the guys who play football, they're not talking about this. You see what I'm saying? So that gang culture definitely has a big influence. It leads on to many other things, like, for example, money. That's what it's about. You can't trust no one. Yeah, your own family will backstab you. All you can trust is making money. So what does that do? That makes them think every day I got to get up. Yeah, forget my friends, forget my dad. I'll steal his watch and sell it if I have to. That's what it teaches you, to being in that gang. But you look at the other sort of groups of boys that they weren't into that.
No, that's true. I was speaking to some brother last week, and he kept telling me, bro, you know what? It's tough life. It's hard, yeah. You need to go out there and make money. And I was in his house and I was leaving, and I just nudged him. He has those old, can't remember what you call it. You know those music players, stereos, yeah, quite a big one, yeah. You could say he's not really living the big life, yeah. I whacked it and he went on, and guess what music he was actually playing? Tripac, his music, yeah. And he's talking about, you know what, life is hard, go out there, steal, make your money, don't care about no one, you're on your own, deal with it. Just listening to that, he just got pumped. He said, I need to go out there and I need to hustle, I need to go out there and make money, you know what, it's every dog for himself. I just thought to myself, I was like, is this an idea that you just came up with, or you just got influenced by this? And as what Suhan and I mentioned before, is that what we listen to and the society that we live in, that has a huge impact on us. The effect of, you know what, if you're in a gang, does that trigger to, or does that escalate to wanting a girl and all that? From wanting a girl, now it's about abusing the girl. If you're in a gang and you haven't abused the girl, you're that muppet or you're that hashpot, man. What are you doing here? But where are they getting these ideas from? The other mate is not initiating it to him, in the sense that he's getting initiated from someone else. And that is the music, the videos and the games that they play, and the very society that they live in, and the TV programs they watch, is pushing all these ideas, and they're just really truly just buying into it. And this is the side effect we see in society.
The picture, some of the pictures, myself, I know a few brothers. I've never been part of the Common Street gang, even though I've grown up here, but I've known pretty much everyone in my age group that was. I also know brothers from Drummer Street area as well. I've met a few other brothers who've been part, and they literally, I know brothers from both sides who've actually fought each other. And actually, to be honest, they actually met and sat down. They'll actually be pretty good friends, from what I know, yeah. But they don't. They still have that feeling, or that anger, whatever it is that they have inside them. And we see that as you age, you see that they start sometimes looking back and thinking this is stupid. But sometimes we see them don't change. Sometimes we still see them do the same things. Maybe the gang name has changed. They're no longer the younger lot of Common Street. They're now running their own thing. They're promoted to older lot, yeah. But the thing is, we still see people in there. They're doing the same thing, but it's also leading to other things like going out clubbing, smoking drugs. I used to know people who never smoked any drugs through the teens, but as soon as they hit like 23, 24, they're smoking drugs. It makes no sense. Why would you start smoking once you age? The thing is, we see that it happens more. That brothers are still trapped within that sort of box, that sort of thinking. How did you two brothers get out of that?
That's interesting.
Straight to the point. How did you two brothers through all that, you know, through the environment that you grew up, the schools, your friends, how did you know, what made you change?
In my case, you know, I got really sick and tired watching myself and my friends repping or having so much loyalty towards that black pole in the middle of Cromer Street. And you know what, even to today when I walk past, I look at it and I think to myself, subhanallah, what is this? Yeah? It's like a hoodie lane, it's like a woman of gender. You know, for you, I'll fight for you. I still rep this, and I still think to myself, subhanallah, people hold on to this loyalty, to these postcodes. They do more zulm, more oppression to the area. They don't even pay tax for the damn area. Yeah? And they say, this is my area. And I thought to myself, you know, what are these people, what am I really getting out of it? And you know, alhamdulillah, I was fortunate in the sense that when I started practicing, I was around 18, 19, and to be honest, the way me and my mates have to joke around, I used to say to them, you know what, if we don't really fix our life up, do something, we're going to be like the older ones, which are about 24 and 25, and guess where they are? Half of them are in prison, half of them are either jammed with us, and we look at them, we call them skag. What is this guy doing with us? We give them names like Modhara, yeah? But what's wrong with him? And I'm thinking, this guy, his father can't show his face, the family lost respect, people laugh at them, and I thought to myself, is this the life that I really want to get? Is this my objective in life? I want to become like this. And so I thought to myself, you know what, even when it comes to making money and everything, like everything I used to do, I used to think to myself, you know, there's no satisfaction. And I thought to myself, you know what, I felt like I can't breathe, I want to escape out of this. But whatever I got myself involved in, to be honest, it was like a temporary escape. I do it and I feel like, you know, I left my reality in the sense that I'm out of that pitiful life I had, that I'm not going nowhere. And then, so I thought to myself, you know what, I really need to do something with my life. I don't know where I'm going. And alhamdulillah, I spoke to some brother and he really sat down with me and he made me really think, bro, what are you really doing with your life? Where is it that you want to go with your life? And what is your life about? Where did you come from, bro? And he started asking this really interesting question. I really funny at the start. I was thinking to myself, what is this guy talking about? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What am I doing here? And I thought, and subhanAllah, man, he was talking to me about what my life is about. And that's what clicked to me. And he showed me, you know what? If I continue the path that I'm on, chasing this postcode, chasing these girls, these clubs, going every Friday night, making every penny, sweating off working in Waitrose or McD's or this place that people work at, and going and splashing it all out in that one day or that one weekend in the night. It's not worth it because you don't get satisfied. The reason why you're not satisfied because guess what, you're there the next week. That guy who goes clubbing, or that guy who goes out there getting into gang fights and all that, he's never satisfied. You see, he continuously wants to do that and wants to have more fun in that area. It's just the way it is in the dunya. Very limited. And I thought to myself, you know what, if I really want to get the best out of my life, I really need to know what I'm doing in my life. And alhamdulillah, I realized my life is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And where I really want to get into is Jannah, because that's where I'll be able to have all my fun forever.
Well, I actually jumped around from one group to another. I mean, I remember the first group of boys who I used to hang around with, it was terrible, man. They used to stand around, like, it's the same thing everywhere. They used to stand around and they talk about all the nonsense under the world, swearing at each other, cussing matches, all of that. And I remember once, it was just me and this one other guy, and we were waiting for three other guys to come around, three of our other mates, and then we got a phone call, and they said to us, one of the guys said, look, bro, Thingy just got rushed, and I'm just thinking, whoa. And we ran all the way over there. By the time we got there, all I could see was he was on a stretcher with one of those neck braces. He had all these, they were all trying to help him out, fix him, and he's all shaking and everything. And I was feeling for him, and I was scared as well. I thought, is this guy gonna die? And what had happened is, he was just walking down the road, and he wasn't even a part of a fight that happened the week before. And what happened? They saw him, they thought he was a part of that group, and he got battered. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I can't have this, man. I can't be hanging around this kind of stuff. My life's going to be at risk. I'm just going to be beaten up just for hanging around with certain people. So then I thought, you know what, I'm leaving that. And they were giving me no good anyway. We were talking about nonsense all day. That's all we used to do. But then I started hanging around with the guys who were just more relaxed and chilled out. They just like to have fun. They like to party or whatnot. They used to always jam in his brother's house. So we used to go sit down there in his house, and all he would do is just smoke drugs and all of that. And I would just sit there thinking, these guys, they're on another extreme. Because all they wanted to do is get away from the world and just be in their own world, kind of like zombies. And it was sad because I was working there for I was working full time for 2 years, and my social time used to be always with them. And there was this one brother particularly, and he didn't want to be a part of all of that crowd. And he used to, subhanAllah, he used to wake up in the middle, because I used to spend a lot of time with him. He used to wake up sometimes in the night and he would be crying. He's like, you know, I need to be able to stop. I want to give up these drugs. There's got to be something that can help me. There's got to be more to life. He used to ask these questions, and weird, deep questions. We used to tell him, look, relax, man. What's wrong with you? What's up with all these mad, deep questions? And he used to contemplate, and I'm telling you, he really wanted to change. He just wanted a way out from that lifestyle. I mean, he'd wake up, he'd get 10 phone calls, and it's all about drugs. You want to go smoke some drugs? Do you have any drugs? Can we get some drugs? And I used to hang around with guys who were trying to live the life to the max in that area. And then he disappeared. He got a text 1 week, and he disappeared from that week. We never saw him. And 6-7 months after, he came back, or not just him and some other brothers. And he was a changed man. He actually got a text from one of the MOD texts actually. I don't know how it spread to him. And he went to one of the talks and he changed. And I just thought, wow, you know, this guy, if he can change, anybody can change. I mean, this guy I thought was, I mean, like I said, he'd wake up and the first thing he'd reach for was a drug. Or a cigarette. He'd reach for a spliff. That's the first thing he'd reach for. This is the condition he was in. And he came back so humble, so blessed, alhamdulillah, changed man. And he started giving us dawah. We were giving him a hard time at first as well, like, whatever, you hypocrite, this, and that. He's like, bro, I've changed, but I'm also still trying to change. You know, come join me. And, you know, he was very patient with us. And then I started coming to some of the circles, and that's how I came into the light, alhamdulillah.
You talked about the groups of friends. You had to move from one group to another group, and eventually, you know, you changed. You talked about your friends as well and whatnot. How hard was it to you know leave those people that you've literally grown up with? These are not just ordinary people you meet every day. You know, these are the people you grew up with, you spent time with. How do you know? What motivated you, or how difficult was it for you to change that sort of atmosphere?
It's fine. It was hard. I'm going to be honest. It was hard. Trying to let go of my boys, trying to leave, it was hard because I practically grew up with them. Spent about 15 years with these guys. Same primary school, same secondary school, and the thing is, what some of the things these brothers did for me. They took beatings from me. They took some stabs from me. They took some baseball. And I thought to myself, you know what? How can I leave these guys, man? You know, I've got this sense of loyalty towards them, and they have something towards me, and they're my boys. I think to myself, you know what? What should I do? And then, subhanAllah, at the same time, guess what was bothering me? No one likes to be used and abused. Ask anyone at the audience, do any brothers really like to be used and abused? Any brothers? Do any of you brothers like to be used and abused?
No.
Seriously, none of us like to be used and abused. You go up to anyone in the street, bro, do you like to be used and abused? He'll be in his right mind and he'll say no. Wallahi, bro, for the past 15 years, I felt like I was being used and abused by my boys. And I thought I was using and abusing them. Because the only reason I was jamming with them is because they were doing the same thing as I was doing. We had a common interest which brought us together. And we did what we did. And subhanAllah, I thought to myself, you know what type of friendship is this? What type of friendship is this? These guys are supposed to be my boys. And then I thought to myself, you know, it was actually a big question I asked one of my mates, and some of my friends, they used to smoke drugs and all that. And I just found randomly said to me, which one of you brothers or which one of you boys will enter Jahannam for me? And the guy who was high, he turned around and said, are you mad? None of us would. And that's when I thought to myself, you know what? At that moment I realized I could let go of these guys right now. Because wallahi, someone who's so dear to me, like my own mother, who is at the forefront for me, right, if any problem does happen to me, if she's not willing to enter Jahannam for me, none of these boys are. So there's no point of me staying with these guys and these guys literally holding my hands, taking me to right next to Jahannam and saying to you, know what, homie, you're on your own now. We're not entering Jahannam with you, we've got our own life to worry about. So I thought, you know what, whether when I'm alive, I want to fix up right now, make it clear to these guys that if you guys are my boys, then you guys will have the decency and the respect to let me go. And let me go and fix my life up. And if you guys are not my boys, then you guys want me to stay with you guys and continue doing the rubbish that we used to do. And you know what, some of these guys were huffing and puffing, and then that really showed the true colours. And some of them, alhamdulillah, were sincere and they said to me, you know what, bro, go and do what you want to do. Inshallah, make dua for us and inshallah come back and see what you can do with us, yeah? Alhamdulillah, I did go back and see some of these brothers, but it was hard, but it's not impossible, bro. It's if you really want to change, if you really want to let go of these people, it is possible. But it really comes down to you. Do you want to let go of these people, or do you still want to be used and abused by your boys or by the people that you hang around with?
You know, it's quite similar to myself as well. I mean, like the first group of boys, like I said, you hang around with because you want to fit in, you want protection, and like I said, they used to get into a lot of fights. But I realized that, you know what, when the push came to shove, they would just, I'll give you an example, they would say, yeah, I got your back, bro, don't watch, man, let that guy come down, I'll batter him, I'll do this, and then whatnot, I'm behind you. And then the fight comes, you look behind you, like, where are these guys? They're like little tiny men, so far away. This is how bad it is. And it's all mouth, every day, it's just all this pride and ego just standing around, yeah, I'm a bad man, I'll take him down that. When it comes down to it, they're wimps. The only time they actually do fight is when there's 6 of them versus one poor little guy. That's what it was like. And they live in a bubble, and when the push comes to shove, they'll leave you. And one of my own experience you can even say is, like I said, when I saw that guy on the stretcher, I felt, you know what, I ain't gonna go through that. So I left. Do you see? When it comes to the boundaries, they will leave you. When the police are at your doorstep, they will leave you. You know, when the guys are at your doorstep throwing bricks through your windows, they will leave you. They won't be there for you. And being in that kind of atmosphere is what you're inviting. So it is hard because you've got this loyalty thing. You know, you got my back, I got my back, and you have to be there. Sometimes this is quite sick actually. Is if you're not gonna back the guy up and there's a fight and you don't turn up, the law or the code that they have is you have to beat that guy up, all of us, because he'd let us down. This is how it is in a gang culture. But with other groups that I was with, they're in, like the second group I was with, they were in such a bubble. They're in their own dream world, and it is definitely hard because you grow up living your life like that. It's like a habit. And to let go, it's tough. But the one thing that holds you is your friendship, this time and all that jokes and whatnot. But then, when I came to one of the circles and I felt, you know, it hit me. I think that one of the talks was on the punishment of the grave. And it shook me up. I thought, wow, you know what? When I'm in that grave, you know what? None of these guys are gonna protect me. I'm gonna, not even my mum and dad are gonna go to the grave with me. I thought, I need to fix up. And I should wish, I think I should beg some of my friends, come to these circles, they'll, you know, help you, this. And they'll never listen, man. But in the end, we started drifting apart because my interests started changing and they were still trapped in the same bubble that they were in. And to be honest, they're actually enslaved. They're a slave to that lifestyle.
Okay. Just real quickly, few seconds to give some advice to our brothers and people at home. Few seconds, inshallah. Ready?
Okay.
Off you go.
As in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut." Every soul will taste death, brother. And that's something, in fact, we know it's going to come to us. So before it coming to us, let's fix our life up, brothers, because we don't want to die in a state of in jahiliyyah. Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant in the grave, and nor would it be pleasant in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So inshallah, that's just a gentle reminder for myself.
Anything from your part? Few seconds.
Some of the brothers who are chasing this world, the cars, the money, the fame, all of that, literally is like a lump of poo in comparison to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got for us. So if you're chasing this benefit, and you really like all this material stuff, you're not really chasing the bigger prize. You're choosing a Nissan Micra over a Lamborghini. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got a world 1,000,000 times better than the world that we're in. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all the beauties in here. Why are we chasing it when He's telling us there's something better outside of the afterlife?
Jazakallah khair, brothers, for coming down to MOD and sharing your experience with us. Yeah. We're going to start Maghrib in a bit, inshallah, but before that, I just want to summarize what we've gone through, inshallah. The whole topic was based around, as the brothers went through, was the gang culture and how it affects brothers, and now particularly it affects sisters as well. Obviously, we didn't go much into that, but this is another problem that's coming up. And we talked about, how the society in general pushes these ideas amongst the groups, and peer pressure and friendship also pushes you into other spheres like drugs, and to be with us, you need to take drugs, and you need to go out with this girl, and you need to do this A, B, and C. But the beauty of Islam that comes down and bonds brothers is beyond what has happened here, beyond this temporary bond like the brothers talked about. When you get beaten up, no one shows up. Islam takes it to a different height, and we see this throughout the stories of the Sahabas and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one hadith in particular beautifies, the friendship and how deep friendship is. This is something the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to talk about all the time. Friendship, how deep it is. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reported by Abu Musa al-Ashari, talked about the likeness of a righteous friend and an evil friend is the likeness of a perfume seller and a blacksmith. I'm pretty sure you've all heard of this one. There's many reports of it, but this one is in Muslim and Bukhari. As for the perfume seller, he may either bestow something on you, or you may purchase something of him, or you may benefit from his sweet smell. That is what a righteous friend will do. Either he'll give you something, you take something off him, or you'll just be generally in that good atmosphere. Or you may, and as for the blacksmith, he may either burn your clothes, or you may be exposed to his awful smell. As for the blacksmith, your gangster mates, your drug dealers, your pimps, what they'll do is just singe you. They'll burn you and leave you with an awful smell which will last for you forever. So with that, inshallah, we'll end here. Running out of time, so we'll go straight. Maghrib's going to start, inshallah. So what we'll do, we'll come back for a bit of Q&A after we pray Maghrib, inshallah. So don't go nowhere, there'll be some food and whatnot. So we'll break up now, inshallah. The brother's going to give adhan.